like a lot of American black kids of my generation admired.
You know what? A lot of white kids growing up admire pimps as well. They've always got women around. They always look like they've got money. It's a wonderful for a lot of guys. It's nothing more than a fantasy, and then you see somebody who's actually living the fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. So I got on the internet. I got into this place called the Pimp Network. I got educated talking to real pimps, and I got into the game as far as the call girl game was going. I had met a girl that I had met at a club. She had been in the game when she was a kid, and her father took her out of the game, and she brought her up here to Sacramento, and she was the most manipulative but the smartest woman I've ever met in my life. And what they say in the pimp game is that your bottom girl that you turn out with is the one that educates you in the game, and that is so true. This girl, she went down to L.A., attracted a real street pimp, and used him to buy more books for me on pimping and stuff like that, and brought him back up here, though, unfortunately, and there was a little incident went down. He pulled a gun out, and I took it from him. But she and I, we got into the call girl game, and I went from her, and I got two more girls, and then I noticed some undercover cops following me. I said, you know what, I'm 42 years of age. I'm too old to go to jail for stupid stuff. Plus, I already had my own money. I was trying to actually help her out because she was working at this big company, and she got laid off, and she said it was a good way to make money, and I said, okay, well, let's give it a try.
When a lot of guys start fantasizing or trying to get into the pimp game, they forget that the women that they're trying to recruit are manipulating men all the time. And it's only natural that these women are going to try to manipulate their own pimps.
Yep, exactly. In fact, hoes are the actual definition of hoe. A real hoe, she's the most manipulative person you'll ever meet. She knows how to manipulate men and make suckers out of men.
Yeah, and that's why guys who get into it usually don't do it very well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys that got clowned out in the game. I still talk to some of the pimps online, and I still keep my finger in what's going on in the world out there, where good tracks are and all that. But, yeah, I do see a lot of guys get clowned real quick. A real hoe can see right through what's called a popcorn pimp in a minute.
Popcorn pimp is someone who just doesn't really know the game?
Exactly.
All right. We got to go to a commercial break. Player Supreme here on Frank Talks, Pleasures, and Lifestyles.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test, a man's guide to the emotional needs of women. What would your life be like if you knew exactly what to say and do with women? This book is for the guy that simply wants to learn how to handle women's tests by addressing her emotional needs. By this, you create the type of attraction that will make her see you as the one she was destined to be with. This book will teach you how to get the woman you want and how to keep her. Everything Out of Her Mouth is a Test is the Rosetta Stone for men to understand exactly what a woman means when she speaks and how to respond. Is that worth changing your life forever? Buy this book at franktalks.com now.
Frank Talks is sponsored in part by From Loser to Seducer by Frank B. Kermit. Ladies, is there a man in your life that got dumped for being clingy, needy, or was told he was a loser, but you still think he's a nice guy and want to help him? He could be a relative or even a friend, and you know he needs the help. Do you want to be the one to give him the gift that will change his life forever? How about the gift of a great biography? Buy him the book, From Loser to Seducer by Frank B. Kermit. It is the story of a nice guy who triumphs over his inner demons to find his own hidden power. Help the nice guy in your life discover his inner seducer to find his soulmate. Buy this book now at franktalks.com.
You're listening to Frank Talks, Pleasures, and Lifestyles, and I'm Frank because I have to be. In studio today, we have Player Supreme. Player Supreme runs the website, www.theplayersupremeshow.com. All right, let's talk about your website. You do a radio show of some sort?
Right, I do a podcast show Monday through Friday where I talk about different elements of the game. I talk about more than just meeting women, but I also talk about coming up in every aspect of your life, not just coming up with girls.
I visited your website. You actually have some videos there on how to dance, how to get a phone number. Can you walk us through those?
Certainly. as for getting a phone number, the technique that I like to use is when I'm talking to a girl, I'll pull out my cell phone and I'll put it in her hands. I'll say, hey, put your number in my cell phone. I'll give it a call sometime. And by giving her something to do, that creates a yes situation where, like in sales, you get a client saying yes, 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 and they eventually close the deal. You get her saying yes to, accepting the phone. And then she has no choice but to put her name and number in there.
Now, what are the chances that when you give her the cell phone, she's going to put in a false number and she'll end up flaking?
That has never even happened to me. I understand a lot of guys out there in the community are getting that happen to them, but I think it's because they're not qualifying the girls. I only approach girls that I make favorable eye contact with. To me, the game starts with the eye contact, and if you're able to walk into like a nightclub and be able to scan the room and check out who's noticing you, those are the girls that you want to approach first because they're already feeling you and already digging you. I believe in going by the feel of the person, not just seeing some hottie walk across the room and go chase after her.
Okay, let me ask you a question here. Let's assume I'm a complete newbie. I have absolutely no clue what you're talking about when you're saying stuff like, good eye contact. Give me the criteria for great eye contact.
Okay. You see a girl across the room. You catch her eye. If she holds that eye contact for at least 3 seconds, then that means she's interested. The longer she holds after 3 seconds, the more interested she is. That means women, they tend to work from their visual senses, their sense of touch and a sense of hearing, and the sense of taste. So you're accessing her visual cortex. She likes what she sees. If you think of, go back to the Garden of Eden, the serpent whispering in Eve's ear, look at that apple. It's nice and red. And so Eve saw that apple. And then you walk over to her and you start talking to her, so you're usually accessing her sense of hearing. Then you take her on the dance floor, you access her sense of touch. So you have all these inroads into the female's mind that will allow you to seduce her. Now, eye contact, it all starts with eye contact. If you go back to mankind before you had language, we communicated with our eyes. So we're trying to take it back to the beginning of man and woman with strong eye contact. So you want to make the eye contact with her, lock her down with your eyes, and wait until she looks away. That shows your dominance over her. Most women who are naturally submissive will look down or look away. And the females that want to stare me down, they're not the ones I want to approach because I'm a very dominant, masculine kind of man. I'm looking for submissive, feminine women who are my opposite out there, not some aggressoid girl out there.
All right, so let me summarize this. Correct me if I'm wrong. You see a girl, you make eye contact, she's holding it for about 3 seconds or so, and then she looks away. That tells you that, 1, she's interested because she held it for at least 3 seconds,
yes.
And 2, she's submissive enough so that she's not going to resist your dominance.
Exactly.
Now, let's say you're looking at a girl, you like her, she likes you, you've got the eye contact, but she's looking at you and she refuses to look away. You won't approach her?
I will. That's one of the aggressoid type of girls. And I've dealt with those kind before. I'll hold her look and I'll walk up to her and get right in her face. When I was in the game, I got to the point where I didn't even ask girls to dance. I just walked over and took them. If you go to my podcast shows, you'll see the interview with my current girlfriend. She'll tell you how she was talking to the bouncer who was hitting on her, and I walked over and said, Steven, to the bouncer, grabbed the hand and took her to the floor, and she's been by my side ever since. Because I believe in the natural dominance of man and the natural submissiveness of female. So I'll walk over to a girl like that and challenge her and make sure she will bow down.
I am so curious about this because there are so many guys in the community that just love the challenge. They want the woman who's constantly staring at them because they just want to see if they can get over that hump, over that challenge. What's one of the things that you would do after you